Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Traders Arena. We're back for another episode of our Crypto Weekly Review. So it's September 10th. And I guess that makes it episode 36. So I guess we're 36 weeks into the year. Started this project very first week of the year. And Paul and I decided to make this just a weekly crypto show about investing in altcoins and trying to take advantage of the sort of bull bear cycles that these assets seem to be always on somewhere. Unfortunately, we've been more bear than bull, I guess, of late. But yeah, so we're 36 weeks into the year, and of course had like sort of the first part of the year was pretty good for crypto, and altcoins were popping off pretty good in the first 3 or 4 months. It's been kind of sideways ever since, sideways down, if maybe even. With the occasional name popping off, but definitely a little more sluggish lately. And then, of course, more recently, very much more sluggish, with Bitcoin kind of rolling over a bit, and just really ugly price action in Bitcoin in general. But yeah, so we're doing the show. We'll get into our usual trading plan and our spreadsheet and all that. First, I guess I'll say hey to my co-host Paul J. Here, are you with us today, sir?
Okay, yeah, I'm consistent as usual, so
Yeah,
I'm here,
nice.
and I'll be here until the end of this plan.
Yeah, we'll be doing it. Who knows how long this will take to complete this project? Just, of course, we're gonna, our plan basically says, well, we have some rules in our plan to try to sell into the euphoric bull whenever that comes, and so I suppose maybe the end of this show will be the day we liquidate everything.
Yeah, we'll start the new project.
Yeah, well, we'll let the bear play out most of the way so that we don't have to talk through the whole bear market. That's brutal. Like our
We'll
timing was pretty good this time. We could have started a couple months earlier and taken a little bit more advantage of the first bull, or the first sort of dead cat bounce kind of run up this year. But otherwise, our time was pretty good because if we would have started the show like, I don't know, a year and a half ago, it would have been
yeah,
more depressing.
but we can make I don't know a shorting plan after the top of the market,
Yeah,
after
there
the
you
P
go.
cycle.
Yeah, maybe we'll change it up and do something a little different. Um, but I mean, for still the same old plan as currently that we're on, which is just sort of trying to nibble away at this bottoming cycle. I think we're in the, whether you want to call it bottoming cycle or sideways year or basing year, or, I think it's pretty clear that the brunt of the bear market's behind us. We're not in a sort of straight down kind of environment here, making lower lows all the time. Instead, we're more of a kind of like, well, what I would call the dead cat bounce was the early rally in the year. We basically made made a solid low and then bounced off of that, and Bitcoin doubled off those lows, and then now of course has rolled back down a little bit, but so that would be like the dead cat bounce, and now the rest of the year is probably like more like how deep do we, how far down does Bitcoin come before it bases again? But in general, we're, bears behind us, and now we're just in sort of like this accumulation year, I think is a good way to talk about it. And of course, if that's, if you're somebody that wants to profit off of these cycles, then now is the time to be paying attention. So if you're listening to this show, you're at least your timing's good. Of course, like, even though it's a little boring at the moment, this is when you have to get interested and start, nibbling your way in, or dollar cost averaging, or whatever your plan says. But, you can't wait until the bull starts, because at that point it'll be kind of too late, and the sort of FOMO emotions are kicking in, and decision making goes out the window, and you haven't done your prep work. So, so even
From
though it's
what I see in the sentiment now, it's close, really close to the bottom, if not the bottom. It's really close to the bottom, at least in altcoins and the crypto in general. Nobody is interested in trading and doing anything.
yeah,
And usually I feel the same emotion in 2019, 2018, 2019. We are pretty close in the same kind of environment. Maybe
yeah,
it'll take, I don't know, a couple of months, but we are close. I'm starting to I'll put together a new plan, dollar cost averaging plan on new projects. Will be only for premium members this time, but I'll start I don't know, making a new plan. I want to participate in all the new projects I see on Binance at least.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good, I think that's a good idea. That kind of brings up a point of like trading these old coins too. Like they still, they're still going to move, but it does seem like each cycle there's always like some new, the hot new things in crypto, unfortunately, because there's not a lot of like, I mean, let's be honest, there's not a lot of inherent value in these things. Like they're not, mostly just like sentiment driven and speculation driven. They're really not, most of these coins aren't really doing anything, let's be honest. And because of that, it's sort of like kind of pump and dump a little bit. And the new hot things have a tendency to be, um, the greatest thing since sliced bread, like Soul from last cycle, for example. So it's like, I guess, this particular show that we're doing right now and this plan that we're talking about today is kind of focused on the bigger market cap coins. So it's not necessarily the new hot thing just yet. I mean, of course, the new hot things will end up in that top 100 market cap, but it is something to be mindful of to try to balance that a little bit and take some punts on some, on some new things. I think it's a little early in general to be too, that's just something to be mindful of right now. It's not like those things haven't presented themselves yet, in my opinion. I haven't seen, I mean, I was talking about it the other day, but like it seemed like early in the cycle last time, for example, it was like kind of like right now where it was like dead. There wasn't too much going on in crypto. There wasn't very many people interested. Markets were just bumping along the bottom, and then like yield farming kind of started coming. Maybe I'm wrong, but I remember that being the first sort of like narrative that triggered the beginning of the last cycle, and it was like, DeFi was kind of emerging, and then yield farming became sort of like a narrative, and that was kind of what kicked off the first bull, and that was like when like the food coins like sushi or whatever, and all the food coins started coming out and ripping. And so that was like a good example of trying to jump on sort of those new ideas. They weren't around this previous cycle. And that was just one narrative that emerged. And then of course NFTs later, and actually Metaverse was in there too. Which, some of the coins from the previous cycle were still involved with the, Metaverse, like Mana. But point being, it's like we're getting closer to that, and like it's not a bad idea to try if you're like deep in the weeds in crypto. Like if you're not, maybe you're a person that's like barely in crypto and you're just kind of buying Ethereum and stuff and like the bigger names, that's totally fine. But if you do want to get a little more in the weeds and you have time to do your sort of research and always kind of keep your thumb on the pulse of crypto, then it's always worth taking some shots on like on trying to gauge what the new narratives are going to be, is what I'm getting at. And that's what we should all be doing as a group, really, because some of us are better than others at that. I would honestly say that I have a tendency to just let the charts unfold. So, like I was even talking about on Tuesday, kind of, I like to buy charts that have a previous cycle already. So like that by nature kind of sets me up as not a person that's hunting the brand new things, because I'm looking for like the first pop to happen and then price to settle back down against the lows. And I buy the second rally, essentially. Is sort of like my general kind of approach to trading this stuff. And so that puts me as like not necessarily on the leading edge of like trying to buy like brand new things. So I can probably up my game in that. But as a group, we should be trying to like figure those things out, because there will be like this cycle's soul, or just using that one as an example because it ripped hard, so it's a good thing to think about. So yeah, there's a balance in there. And so yeah, what Paul's talking about is just a dollar cost averaging plan that sort of caters to that. I think that's a great idea. But anyway, we'll keep moving along with what we're doing here. And I mean, the real point is no change. Yeah, it's kind of boring, and it's like there's not a lot to get super excited about. Like today, for example, I'm not gonna like tell you guys about a coin that I just think is a must buy immediately. Chances are, there's gonna be stuff that looks pretty good and worth taking your little nibbles on, but I don't think we're in the kind of market where we should expect things to just start ripping straight up. If anything, there's just not enough like public driven sentiment yet to start creating that kind of FOMO vibe that has to happen. You kind of like, unfortunately, it has to be a situation where people are panic buying to create a real bull run. You need to have like your neighbor like cashing in his 401k or something to buy Bitcoin, or leveraging his house to buy Bitcoin. I mean, that's the sad reality of trading. It's not, we want to try to not be that person, of course, but it does take that person to kind of trigger these bull
I had
events.
a discussion with a group member who asked me what will happen in the bull market. Exactly, I said exactly that. Yeah, when everyone will ask you how they should participate in Bitcoin, what altcoin they should buy, if they should sell their house to buy Bitcoin, and so on, then you know you are in the last part of the bull market. And inevitably that will happen. And you can tell them, okay, sit out and wait. But 98% of them, they'll not listen. They'll buy and FOMO in.
Yeah.
And you cannot help them. We had some story last time. A lot of people, I don't know, mortgaging their house to buy the top of the market. This time will not be different.
Yeah.
There
I
will
mean, it
be
never
people.
changes. Unfortunately, it just never changes. This has been going on for long before crypto.
And
So,
now, in this environment, nobody wants to learn. Nobody wants to participate. Nobody wants to buy, I don't know, a Litecoin at $60. But they'll buy Litecoin at $400, and so on.
yeah. I mean, that's like a key lesson. If you're even around right now, that's a good start. So like, because at least you're here at the right time. That's sort of my original point. This is a great time to be learning. It's a great time to be doing your research. It's a great time to get your plan together. A great time to, like figure out all your platforms and accounting and all that shit. That's a good thing to do now so that it's all in place later. And of course, like going back to our plan, it has very simple rules. Like we're basically going to sell halves on doubles if we can during this time period. Like, like Unfi, for example, I got a double on recently, and, here and there, these coins will pop, and we're happy to sell half of our position there and get our capital back out of it. And that's right now. And then, we have specific rules for how we're going to exit the market in the bull cycle. So we already have that figured out for this plan. We're not questioning that or changing that, and it's very simple. You can read our plan that Paul shows every week, but essentially we're using a specific indicator to help us gauge when that peak euphoria will be. We're just going to kind of unload then, and that'll be a lot of fun to actually get to that level, but it's just not yet. And so now it just requires like immense patience and discipline to just carry out the plan. And so like that's the point of this show, really. It's just, if anything, even just for Paul and I, it's like a check-in with ourselves. So like every Sunday I have to at least be thinking about this plan. Now, of course, I spend a lot more time than that because I do this every day, but like in general, it's like once a week I have to just sort of hit the reset button on like my zoom out a bit and just think about my plan. And so just keeping me in the game, so even though it's kind of boring right now, it's still just keeping me in the game, which is the most important part, I think, for succeeding in these kind of long-term things, because it's just too easy to either lose interest and maybe you liquidate your stuff because you just found something shiny and new somewhere else, and so you walk away, or like you forget about it, or maybe there's a bad shakeout and you liquidate because you get panicky and you get shaken out of your positions. The only way you can avoid that kind of behavior is through discipline and planning. So I don't know, a little bit of a rant on that, but the main point is we're in this is the time to be paying attention. So that's the main point. It's a great time to be paying attention, and the key is just don't blow all your dry powder too early. That's kind of the second thing. It's like we're in a great time to be nibbling, totally in like a sort of basing year, so to speak. We have that Bitcoin halving coming up, which is usually a bull catalyst, and it's a great time to be participating in buying. It's just you don't want to blow your capital too early. So you have to sort of, again, that falls into planning too, because you have to have an appropriate plan. Like in our case with this plan, we're taking 0.5% bets, and so we're forcing ourselves. We only have 2 bullets per name basically. So like if we it's okay to, like, we're a little bit more risky with the first bullet, and then if we spend our first half, then we have to be much more mindful for our second half, because we don't want to buy too early on that second half, because then it's going to kind of, we'll end up with not as great of a entry level. So we've limited ourselves to that. So we're not just going to kind of expend all our capital too early and then not have any money once the true bottom is in. So that's another sort of key part of this sort of patience and discipline thing. So anyway, hopefully just by tuning into our show, I think that just by listening to this show, that's enough to actually keep you also in the game. And then, just make sure you're doing the rest of that work. Of course you could just sort of copy us, but that probably won't, that's not a great idea. Like, I don't think you should, you gotta do it for yourself. Like, yeah, you can look at our plan that we're showing in the spreadsheet and see all our levels and sort of decide for yourself if those are levels that you're okay with. And maybe you have knowledge that we don't have, and so you're going to adapt. But I don't think blindly following anybody's a great idea. You have to have your own conviction and your own reason to do these things. So we're just trying to help simplify that, and maybe help you avoid some of the pitfalls of like doing this without any experience or previous knowledge. So, but I don't know, I think we've done a pretty good job just sort of tracking the market. And so getting into that a little more before I keep rambling on about that stuff, I'll just quickly talk about sort of where we're at this week with the broader market, and then Paul will get into the actual names that we're discussing today, and getting a little bit more into our plan and see what, if we did any business last week or not. So real quick, I will try to keep this brief, but I'll just say that the dollar still hasn't broken yet. We've been watching the dollar just ripping straight up, which of course, the reason we talk about this is it just puts down, it's inversely correlated to the risk on market. So really a ripping up dollar should produce selling pressure on like the stock market and crypto in a general sense. And so we watched this for that reason. And really, we've just been in a straight up move ever since like July. And once again, even on Friday, they had broken it. This is a big red candle, and they were really trying to push it down. And then it ended up closing as like a hammer here. So that's a relatively bullish close. Or not relatively, that's a bullish close. Even though it closed red, it was just barely red, and that's essentially suggesting that, during the day, the sellers stepped up hard, but by the end of the day, the bulls had stepped up and taken back the move. So short point is just, it hasn't broken yet. Certainly no top here yet. And now we've taken out a key high, back here. And then we're looking to go after this old empire top here, which this is actually like an island. There's two gaps on the sides. And so that's like a magnet really at this point. Like, I'd be shocked if they don't at least hit that level. They've taken it this far. It is quite a bit higher. Of course, essentially I would just look at it as like 38.2 is not 106. That's 38.2 fibs of the entire, off the top. And so as long as we're below that we're just sort of range, that's kind of like the same as crypto right now. It's just, this is like the like if we were investing in the DXY, for example, you would think of this as like almost like accumulation as it's based here below 38.2. And so until we really test that, we can't say too much about whether or not we're, in a true like uptrend. Like, I mean, I've talked a lot about just using the 200 period moving average as the determination of trend. And sure enough, we based off of it now. And so like, I do think there's been a change in market state here. Like, we went from a downtrend period here to now very much testing that downtrend. I don't know if it's broken yet, but it's certainly looking uppy. Let's just say that. And so anyway, I think this gap right here is likely to be hit at 105.67 and then 38.2 a little bit above. So I would expect price to actually get up in here. Just judging by the fact that, look at the moving averages just pointing straight up, not even consolidating at all. They're just, we got strong support here at the 13 EMA, which was also the 200, which was also this trend line too. A lot of support there, and it came in hard and just straight up. And so I'll just end with DXY saying that RSI never got overbought, excuse me. We never got up into overbought yet. So that's just sort of like leaving room for price to keep moving higher. And of course you can see like back here where RSI did get overbought, that marked the last top. And so it's not a guarantee or anything, but once we see RSI get up into overbought and then also lose it, I think that's probably a good sign that this thing's ready to roll over, and we just haven't had that yet. So it just looks like uppy. So I guess heading into this week, I kind of expect the downward pressure to continue as long as this is looking like that. We'll see what happens when it opens here later. And then just briefly mentioning the stock market, I did roll over to the new contracts in my charts, not drawn up, but so I don't know, anybody trading futures on the CME, this was basically Friday was the last day of trading the old contract. Now it's time to move on to, or this is the old one here actually. It's time to move on to the December. But I did change my charts a little bit, so I don't have any drawings on here. But I'll just say really quick. Remember, I said the dollar is likely to keep pushing higher, so we would expect selling pressure here. I don't know. I have a little trade on there, right? I got a bunch of them. That's weird. Anyway, so what I just see here very simply is clearly there's a W. So like clearly they tried to base this thing right here. I mean, it is a likely place for a pivot. The stock market's basically just making higher highs and higher lows. As we dip down here, I talked about hunting for a pivot, and it looks like it came in for the moment. And of course, they broke this W out, but it was really just into like moving average resistance, and now we're back under the moving averages. Jeez, what am I doing here? I don't know. I have all these trades on this screen, but from lower time frame, I don't know. Anyway, let's see, what was I? Oh, so anyway, we're into moving average resistance here, and I said the dollar's like likely pointing up. So you can see how we got basically rejected at the 13 again on Friday, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing off a little bit this week. And I've highlighted that gap as kind of like where I think the next sort of short-term pivot might come in here on the ES. I think they'll probably dip it down into that gap before bouncing it. And really, that's just like a reload zone if you were to draw fibs from here. So like 61.8's, 44.25.50. And that gap is a little bit lower at 44.18. And of course, 78.6 down here at 43.92. So somewhere in that sort of areas, I do think they'll probably dip it down in here. And then maybe we see the DXY roll over a bit and this thing pop. And then, of course, maybe we get some sort of like ABCDs off there to go after the highs up here, which is like this gap, I think, is the sort of short location on the high side. So anyway, I kind of think maybe heading into the week, we'll probably dip down into here before we pivot, but we'll see what happens. And I'll just kind of skip the NASDAQ, just say it's the same exact thing. The only thing I'll point out is both the ES and the NASDAQ had a nice W and OBV, which is that's a good tell that we actually based harder here than like Bitcoin did. And Ethereum, and I'll show those in a minute, how OBV really didn't support Bitcoin basing like the stock market did. So yeah, that W, technically fired like on this day here, or yeah, the W and OBV. And so like even on the close of that candle there on, I guess that was Monday of this week. That was a nice tell that we had kind of double bottomed here. And so anyway, really I'll just, this is a relatively bullish looking structure. So I was talking about that dip here, and also the NASDAQ has that same gap right there too. It's just a little smaller, but it is there. I do think, this W, I think for the moment, I don't see why it wouldn't hold. I do just think that there might be like kind of a setup for the smart money to get long right here as they dip it down into that gap. Of course, I'm just speculating, but based on my analysis, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Of course, they might base, here the NASDAQ a little different. It's kind of got bullish moving average cross already, and it maybe bases right here and pushes higher. I think watching the DXY is the best tell for that. And I usually mention the Russell, but I'll just say that it's just hanging on by a thread to the 200, and I think the rest of the market will, like if the ES and NASDAQ can balance, then this thing will probably hold the 200 for now. It did sell off a little harder, so maybe we'll get a little harder bounce. We'll see, but nothing to really say. Also, you could see how this is a good example of how we never got the OBVW here. Actually, it kind of tried, but it mostly just M'd out again and made a new low, and now we're just actually making a larger M. So definitely not like the looks of a bottom. The ES and the NASDAQ look a little bit more bottomy to me at the moment. And Bitcoin looks pretty horrible, to be honest. Well, I don't know if horrible is the right word. first off, the price action has been super ugly. So if you're actually day trading Bitcoin or short term, lower time frame trading Bitcoin, this is a very dangerous place to be trading. Paul's made that clear to the group very many times all week. Sure enough, like, just a lot of up and down in a tight range. And so there's not a lot of breakouts to take advantage of, but there is a lot of traps to be laid, to get sucked into if you're in here zoomed in trying to trade these moves. Like even just, a few days ago when they faked the breakout to the upside, put in a little W and just immediately dumped on everybody, sucked everybody in long, dumped on them. And then of course, like, yeah, they even like FU'd the day. So even anybody they got to get short right here on this day, then probably got stopped out the next day, before before they dumped it. So I think for lower time frame trading, Bitcoin is pretty tough. A very tight range here. I mean, excluding this, I mean that sort of big fuckery kind of opens up this range a little bit. But in general, this is the kind of price action we're looking at, just like a lot of smaller candles, a lot of back and forth. I will say that truthfully support is held though. So like, yeah, Bitcoin looks pretty, kind of just looks iffy here. It almost looks like it could just, I kind of get the feel there's going to be just some kind of pretty epic dump here, kind of like this again, and just sort of panic dump everybody. I don't know if we get, maybe we're already going to get down into reload zones, who knows, but I do, just kind of looking at this, I feel like they're going to at least take out these lows here. And but that said, so far we're holding this like key support level at 25,200, which we've just talked about over and over again. This is the neckline of the head and shoulders, and just basically a really key level. And it's just funny how they put in 4 tails now down against it, and just they haven't broken through it. But like now we would call that equal lows. And so usually, like, as a like kind of like one of the concepts that kicks around the group a lot is this idea of when you start seeing like equal lows establishing right here, it just creates liquidity below. And so it's like oftentimes what will happen is they'll take that liquidity and then take it up. So if you're trying to get long, you might consider longs below those equal lows, as opposed to trying to get long here and then having your stop run before they actually make the move. And so anyway, these tails here are all just asking to be eaten. So I do think a dump below that level, and maybe going after this tail a little bit down here to like 24,700 or so, seems like that's kind of the magnet right now. And that kind of makes sense because I've had this W on here. I mean, the hilarious part about this is like, just been waiting. I don't know. I've been waiting for a true bottom all through here. And that's just kind of how it goes, right? This is maybe W's, but it was pretty ugly here. And then, of course, maybe W's there. And we did break out and just right into resistance and got rejected. And so we're still not truly W'd out on the side of this trend line, and so it's just kind of funny. That's how it is, I guess. But I still just have, I think waiting for some sort of bottom somewhere in here. This green box is like the 38.2 to 50% level pump chaser zone. So if we're still in the uptrend, we really need to base in here somewhere to keep this uptrend, because we've already lost the uptrend line and we've already lost the 200. So the uptrend's been seriously tested here. But we truly haven't made a new low. We're still making higher lows because this low is still remaining as the last higher low. And so now we have higher lows here again. So until we lose that level, we haven't fully broken the downtrend. But if we can't bottom around here, then I think we're then range bound. At that point, we've broken this uptrend and we probably have to start hunting lower prices like reload zones and thinking of this as a big range, just a big giant range, which is kind of what seems like is happening. And also just seems like this is the accumulation cycle, right? Like we kind of want to see price actually just do something like that. Personally, I'd rather hold these lows, but we don't have any proof that it's going to truly hold the 15,000 low yet. We don't know. Right now, I think we're thinking range and can't really make claims of lower prices until we truly see that breakdown. It's just more like, where does the W come in? But I was going to mention OBV as the tell. Unlike the stock market, you can see my OBV here does not have any W's at all. So like, let's just wait. If you're like a position trader or or an investment trader looking to buy Bitcoin, you want to buy Bitcoin somewhere here, let's just let this bottom. You can see back here how it based, like we did have to break. it was like tough to buy that breakout, but at least you knew, once that base was in, you could have hunted this pullback here at least. Or you could have even just aped in on the breakout. But at least you would have had this base. Whereas like here, there's nothing like that. So let's just watch OBV there. You can see RSI trying to base, and of course, if we do make a new lows here, then maybe we start getting divergences. That's why this little W is there. But really, like an RSI divergence would look something like this if we actually lose the lows here. So waiting for W's and divergences in RSI, and then W and OBV minimum is probably the way to go here before calling too many bottoms. Now, if you are a trader, I mean, this is support right here. So sure, if you're trading, then you're probably thinking long more than short right here, I would hope. Kind of late to be shorting here. So it's kind of like, buying into support here isn't the worst idea. It's just there's no structure to support it yet. And Ethereum almost looks worse, I'd say. So altcoins might have a little bit harder of a time than Bitcoin here too. But Ethereum basically looks the same. I'll just highlight this 1500 sort of ABCD location, which is also the 50% level off of the whole range. It seems like that's the magnet for now too. I mean, this trend line is not in the right place. So that technically goes right there. And you can see how that trend line is right on the ABCD. So there's like some sort of confluence here. And it seems like that would be sort of like that. If Bitcoin does dump through those tails, Ethereum will probably come down into this area. Not a huge surprise. Definitely looks kind of momentum's down. The moving averages are pointing straight down. We're below the 200 now, which is resistance. If we do for some reason pop up into that, I do expect a lot of resistance there. So it looks like next stop is the trend line. So look at OBV though is really all that needs to be said. If you're just looking at a daily chart, looking for a bottom on Ethereum here, that's just trending down hard. You can see the last W was back here, very clean, nice W, which actually would have been unlike Bitcoin, that was a lot more buyable. You would have had the confirmation on that candle there, and then actually a nice little Wyckoff check there. Couple days later, see how they brought price down here and just checked the W level. So there was actually a trade opportunity there, in my opinion. But now isn't that? That's a good example of that's a nice W there. There's nothing like that here. So let's just wait for price to come down in here. I mean, I don't know if you're zoomed in and trying to short this. More power to you, but not great short location. So yeah, I guess the prognosis from that little run through is that altcoins are probably going to have a little bit of a hard time in the next couple weeks. I'd say like until this truly, I think until we see like a better base here in Ethereum, and probably altcoins are going to just sort of have the wind in their face. And then lastly, I'll just say that unlike Bitcoin, Ethereum truly has broken the trend in the sense that it's broken. I mean, I don't know. This trend line, this orange trend line is debatable, I suppose. It is off structure, and I do like it because it was, in confluence with the 200 this whole time. But the true downtrend or the true uptrend line's all the way back here, so we haven't lost this blue one yet. But nonetheless, we lost the 200, we lost this trend line, and then we just put in a big old M. We're actually threatening to even close that M. We haven't technically closed below that level yet, which is funny. We were just putting tails down until today. So like, we'll see how we close today, but we might actually lose that 1620 level. But hopefully you can see the M, the big old M. So the uptrend in Ethereum is broken, in my opinion. And now we're thinking range, just like I was saying with Bitcoin. So like, it's just a question of how dippy do we dip until this bottoms again. It could be all the way down in reload zones here, like, which is 1360 and below. And we'll just wait for that. And whenever this bottom comes in, that's probably when altcoins will start having a little more breathing room. So anyway, looks kind of sluggish in general, I'd say. And also and then again, just going back to the DXY, it still hasn't topped yet. So we really do want to see the DXY roll over. Now, it's a little more complicated than that, I suppose. I mean, I think the euro is really struggling right now, which is going to push the DXY up. DXY is like 54% euro or something. So like, whatever euro problems are happening, are gonna. I don't know. So it's a little more complicated than just DXY up and stock market down, but it does in general work for the most part. So especially like zoomed out, like in hindsight, you can always go back and go like, geez, they're pretty inversely correlated. So I guess that's it for my little spiel. As I have a message from Paul, so I don't know if there's an issue or. Oh, that's weird.
No, not an issue. It's just look at what they want to do this week. So
Oh God.
Yep, it's not something nice. So
I thought you were gonna
prepare
tell me
your
like
orders down below.
I thought you were gonna be like your volume's off, man. You've just been talking for wait, where'd that
No, you're okay with the volume. Everything it's nice and clean.
Wait, so
But that message, it's ugly.
they're making FTX liquidate $685 million of SOL. Shit. And
Yeah,
geez,
I guess that will destroy altcoins a little bit more.
what is
So
oh man, and look at I guess it's
when I
already
fucking
dumping.
said I'll buy Solana at $5, nobody believed me. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what this sell off is right now. But I mean, look at the red. There's a lot of red on crypto today anyway, but yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but I think that rumor is up from a couple of hours ago. That's why.
yeah, and of course this is like one of last cycle's darlings, but this isn't a huge surprise, right? We often watch them bring these markets all the way back down. So like, I mean, does Sol have to go back to 5? Probably. We'll see.
Well, I don't know. I have my order there.
I mean, I like the idea of that level right at the old W. That's 5, right? 417 or so.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, that's probably what we have in store for us. So yeah, we fell a little short of the 35,000 Bitcoin target, it looks like, unless something changes. And of course, things can change overnight. So I don't really anticipate that. But we never quite hit that 35K area. I suppose if we can truly find some sort of W here soon, then there is a chance that it could pop up there. But even if that happens, I do think that's a lot of resistance at this point. So even if we do get some sort of out of nowhere pump in Bitcoin, I do think with 38.2s up here at that 35 level, 36 level, even if for some reason we do shoot up there, that's probably a selling opportunity.
Yeah, the resistance even at 31 is pretty strong now.
Yeah. So
what they did, they just put the market in the knees at 15, 16K, load up, sell half on a double at 31K, motherfuckers. Yeah.
yeah.
And now they are bringing the market down
Yeah.
back at the original place. And that's it. If you zoom out big enough, you'll see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty simple stuff. If you keep your eyes on a weekly chart, you'll see the bigger picture. If you are looking at, I don't know, tempted to trade in the weekend and you look at 5-minute chart, then you'll not see the big picture.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think like just this range is like worth thinking about. It's just like we're ranging like this, right? So like this is the area we want to be interested in, wherever that area comes in. And we'll know because it'll do something like that. And this 200 will also, the moving averages take a long time to build, but they'll also kind of dip down like that. And then eventually price will cross it again. And that's sort of also when like potential bull markets start. Just like right here, it's the same thing right here, basically during COVID,
Let's
this is
look
where
at
we're at.
7.8.6 reload zone. That's my area of interest.
You mean off of all the way back here from this range?
Yeah, from the recent lows from 15K. No, not the.
Oh, right,
the
I
old,
got you. Yeah.
Just the last ones.
Yeah, so what's 78.6 now? 18 something?
Yeah, something like that.
18,900.
So from 15K to 31, and you can see where we should wait.
Yeah. I mean, that's classic reload zones. Brian Beamish.
Yeah.
Brian Beamish reload zone. It's pretty much
and we
here's
have
what
some
we'd expect in every. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We have some levels at 7.8.6. There are some tails.
Yeah. I mean, there's clearly this one that's just Lumen. I know Stefan was talking about that one the other day, and there's that one's just like out there ready to be tested. That's 19,500, which is also kind of
Exactly.
20,000 ish. And there's also just
Yeah.
this breakout level there at like,
You can keep in mind that
18.3.
20K was the old high from 2018. Same level now, untested for the moment. That level needs a retest, in my view.
Yeah.
So why not? With a bad enough news, we can test that level even lower a little bit.
Yeah. We'll just see what happens. I mean, that makes sense though. That's just that's just the accumulation year that we've just been talking about. That would make sense. It just, I thought this Head and Shoulders would probably complete, which is a little bit higher, and it didn't. What can you do? I mean, that's not like it's not guaranteed. So it looks like we ran out of steam a little earlier than I had anticipated, and it just is what it is. That doesn't really change my plan at all, though. It's that, that was just sort of my analysis, but it doesn't really affect. I'm not looking to
No,
sell Bitcoin. I mean, I honestly want to be selling Bitcoin up here, bare minimum. I don't want to be selling it down here. So this is still accumulation. Yeah. So anyway, maybe we should move on into the actual altcoins.
You can change the screen to my side.
Yeah, let's just
Let's
be.
see what we have.
Oh wait, that's not your screen. Where did you go? Oh, there you are. All right. Well, you're all set. Got like 8 million windows open all of a sudden.
Yeah. So if you can see my screen, you see the same plan.
I just lost. Hold on 1 second. I'm really struggling on my technical. What happened to your screen? My production levels just went. Okay, now you're good.
No, now you have. Okay.
There's a little bit of a delay on YouTube, but yeah, you're good now. It's just somehow I popped to your other screen.
Yeah, it's not a big problem. So, same plan. You can read this plan over and over again until you'll know it really well. It's a simple one. I will not change anything until this plan will be complete. Read the red part. So, we left this analysis at Shiba last time. And today we should start with Litecoin, and we'll do Litecoin, Tron, AVAX, Uniswap, and Atom. 5 coins, I think it's enough. So let's start with Litecoin. If you remember when I posted this chart, not too many people they are believing. Look at this chart. This big nice W, the other side of the trend line, and I was waiting at $51. I don't know. Almost everyone they are thinking will go higher and will never come back at 51. Now let's take a look now and let's see what we have on Litecoin. Actually, we are pretty close to my level. $60, 51. I guess less than $10 to my level. I think I have a good chance to get my fill at $51. Maybe even lower. Yeah, I'll buy 0.5% at $51, and then as usual, I'll just hunt lower with the weekly double. Maybe it'll come a bit lower than $51. Maybe not. But for the moment, nothing I should do on this one. I should wait at $51. You can see we have the long reload zone. We touch 78.6. We go straight from 61.8 to 78.6. Nice bounce, but you can see it's just a dead cat bounce. The market doesn't have any interest to pump harder than just a dead cat bounce. So I'm okay with keeping my limit order here. Nothing to say about Litecoin. Yeah, we had a bounce, not even a sell half on a double, but now I don't think like other people that Litecoin will go away. I'm looking in the past, I'm looking left, and what I can see on looking left, I see a pump in 2017, nice one, close to $400. I see a nice consolidation and another pump without any, keep in mind, without any development, anything special about Litecoin. No, just a bull market. Yeah, nobody said anything special about Litecoin in 2021 or in 2022, and still look at Litecoin, reach $400. So I don't have any reason to think that this time will be different. No, let's wait for this consolidation. You can see the movement. Let's wait. Let's accumulate. Sell half on a double if we get the opportunity. Get some free coins and expect the same rally, maybe even bigger, maybe a bit smaller. But I'm still expecting a nice performance from Litecoin in the next bull market. Don't expect from Litecoin, I don't know, 100x. It's not that kind of coin. It's too big now. It's too old. But you can still make some money if you buy at the bottom. Yeah? If they'll have some new development, someone will say that Litecoin will do something new, will implement something new. Yeah, you can expect a bigger pump. But without any new development, you can see we had here 50, not even a 10x until the top. But still good money if you bought at $50 and you sold at, I don't know, at $400 or even at 200. So I'll keep my order and I'll hunt lower if it will be the case. Nothing to do on Litecoin at this point. Let's take a look at the next one. And on this list, the next one is Tron. Yeah, let's take a look at the chart and let's see what we had on Tron last time. And we had a W the other side of the trend line, but I said in that moment that is too fucking high for my taste and I will not chase that W all the way up there. And I put my limit order down below at 2.7 cents. Let's take a look at what we have now on Tron. Let's see where we are. Now, we are a bit higher than last time, holding up really nice. I don't know how long we'll keep this level, but you can see last time we were at 6 cents, now we're at 7.8. So we didn't manage to get a double, but we're a bit higher than that level. I'm still thinking that my order here is pretty safe and pretty okay to wait here. Yeah, we are pumping. I know Tron likes to pump, but we'll dump in the same kind of. Nobody said anything wrong until now about Justin Sun. Just wait a little bit. Maybe they'll say something ugly, and you'll see Tron going and filling our order. I'm not chasing here. If Tron will be so strong that will go straight up, so be it. Next bus, another chart. I'm not chasing here. Now, I don't want to. For me, this is means chasing. Look at the high. High was 18 cents, and now we're at 7 cents. No, I'm not. I'm not buying something like that. So on Tron, nothing to do. Still waiting here at this level. Let's take a look at the next one. So after Tron, we have AVAX. Let's take a look at the chart we had last time. It's a good thing to have the charts from the beginning. And you can see what we had. Limit order at $7. You can see we just broke out from the trend line. No W, no nothing. And I said, okay, $7. This level, it's a good level to wait. I don't know. Let's see what we have now. Let's see AVAX. No, seems like we are close. We are close to that level. We are at $9 now. We had a nice bounce. We didn't get a sell half on a double from here, from this level, from the spring. But now you can see the M, the second M. We are losing the support now. Even now, in this moment, we are losing the lows. Now, let's put the lows. You can see we touch this. Could be at power of 3, but if it's not, watch out below. We'll get our fill on AVAX. I don't know what will happen, and I don't need to know to make money. So on this one, I'm pretty sure that my $7 limit order it's okay. And you can see from $7 to $1 to 85 cents, we can form a nice weekly W and we can consolidate. For the moment, nothing to do. You can see what is happening even in this moment. So nothing to do. Let's just wait on AVAX. Yeah, let's just wait for $7.10 to buy some AVAX a bit cheaper. Okay, you can see the difference. Yeah, that chart and this chart, and you can do that with everything we have on this plan. Yeah, you can do that with every altcoin. Look what happened from the spring until now. You have the chart. You can point out the chart and look at the market price now and make a analysis and see for yourself and take some notes. In the next bear market, you'll know what to do. Yeah? I took a lot of notes in the last bear market. That's why I know that it's not okay to chase. That's why I know the market will usually take the lows. It's not something complicated. You just need a lot of patience. Okay, so we spoke about AVAX. Let's take a look at Uniswap. Uniswap. Let's take a look at the chart from Uniswap from last time. And you can see Uniswap actually had a really nice chart at that point in time. I said $4.50, but you can see not a clear W, but a W action here on weekly chart. Yeah? The other side of the trend line, sideways movement, was looking really nice, but for me to buy it at $7 at that point in time was a bit too high. Maybe I was wrong, but was a bit too high for my taste. And I'm still waiting here. Let's see what we have now. So Uniswap, and you can see where we are now. We managed to get $4.5. We get a bounce at $7, almost $7. No sell half on a double, and we are going down for the next level. And between $4.30, you can see the low here from Binance. We have a lot of room to make that weekly W. Huh? Yeah, we had some kind of W here, but not a clear one, not a wide enough. And I said it's not okay for me to chase here. We can go lower. Guys, I'm telling you from my experience, I made a lot of stupid mistakes last bear market. Yeah, I had the opportunity to buy more Cardano at 2 cents, 2.1 cents, and I had already too big of bag. I had more than more than $10,000 at that point. Was just too much for me. And what I did, I sold Cardano at the bottom. So not all of it. I made some nice money with Cardano. I'm not complaining, but that's how I learned from pain, from the mistakes I made in the last bear market. I'm not telling you stories, what I heard. I'm telling you from what I learned on my own mistakes. And I have a tendency to note everything. I learned from Brian Beamish to make a journal and put my emotions, everything I learned in that day. And I just did that. At least, I don't know how to say it, big events, you should definitely put them in your notebook, in your journal, because you'll not remember exactly from 2 years ago. That being said, on Uniswap, we are testing the lows. Yeah, we bought at 0.5 at $4.50. We are not buying again. We are waiting for that weekly W from now on. Yeah? If the market will reach this level, I'll buy another 0.5. But only if we'll straight down at this level, okay, I'll buy another 0.5 because I have a probability that the market will double really quickly and I'll get some free coins. Until then, I'll wait for a weekly double. It's that simple. Okay, that's Uniswap. So you can see the difference between the charts. Let's take a look at the last one, I guess. Yeah, Atom. So let's take a look at Atom and let's see what we have on Atom. What we had last time. Yeah, we had this LJ. We had this support and resistance. I said $8.9. It's a good level for me, and you can see why I was waiting at that level. A lot of people said that no, that was the bottom and will go higher. I don't mind for people to have opinions, but I'll try to respect my plan and what I know, what I learned in my experience. So, not a clear weekly double, nothing to chase here. 8.9 seemed like a good level to start at that point in time. Let's see what we are now. So, Atom, let's see where we have Atom. Yeah, you can see at that point was here, now is below our entry, 8.9, and is going down for the next level at $5. Yeah, we'll buy again at $5, another 0.5. Honestly, I don't know, could go a lot lower, but I'll respect my plan. If I said I'll buy at 8.9 and I'll buy again at $5, I'll do it, and then I'll put my limit order to sell half on a double, and that's it. From $5 to $10, it's pretty easy to get a sell half on a double, so I'm okay with that. But nothing to do, nothing new to do on this one. Be damn sure you have your sell half on a double at this level. Yeah, put your order in the market. Put your order at $5 to buy the second round, and just wait. It's that simple. It's the hardest part for most people, even for me sometimes, to wait, but it's the best thing you can do. That's the plan. Let's respect the plan, and we'll live with the results. If we are applying emotions, we don't have a clear plan, we'll do 99% only stupid mistakes. Doesn't matter that you have 10 years of experience in the market. If you don't have a clear plan, you'll do stupid mistakes. If you have 10 years in the market and a lot of experience, you know that a good plan it's better for you. It's that simple in my view. Now the market is looking ugly. Nobody wants to buy anything. But maybe it's time to pay attention with the news about Solana, with the news about everything. Let's see Solana. Yeah, you can see where I'm waiting Solana. Yeah, I don't know if I will get a feel on Solana at this level, but I'm waiting. I'm not buying this one. I know Solana, yeah, is the best thing from the sliced bread and so on, but I'm not buying here. I saw Solana here when Sam said, sell me all the Solana you have at $3 and get the fuck out. Was the coolest thing at that point in time. Okay, I'm waiting at the same level like him. A bit higher. I'm not so smart like him. Actually, he's in prison. I'm not, so I guess I'm a bit smarter than him, and everyone is a bit smarter than him, if you think it that way. But I'm waiting here at $5. I don't need the market to go at $5 and stay 1 year here. I just need an ugly tail, take my order, and that's it. Yeah. So it's up to you what you want to do. Let's take a look at a quick look at Bitcoin from this list, because I have a Bitcoin list here. And then I'll do some requests, because we have some requests this time. So you can see Bitcoin. I posted this chart on general chat. This is the halving. Yeah, we are closer to the halving. But in the same time, look at this pattern. We have some support and resistance here at 25. Indeed, but we have a higher high here, and if I'll put my indicators, you'll see something. RSI has a complete and a confirmed bearish divergence. Lower high, you can see a clear bearish divergence confirmed now on RSI, on weekly chart. Let's take a look at OBV, because Kevin will say OBV is the strongest indicator. I see the same fucking thing on OBV. If the market will close this week like this, we have an EM and a bearish divergence on weekly chart. I think this one needs to play out. Either I see two possibilities at this point. I see going sideways and respecting this level. And the other scenario is going down at least to retest this week low, this tail. You can see this one. It's really ugly at 20K. And keep in mind, 20K, it's like a magnet. Why? Was the support and resistance, was the all-time high from 2017. That's a pretty important level. Market usually wants to retest that level to see, has some business to do below that level or not. If nobody is interested to play around below that level, market will go up again. But we don't know that. Market doesn't know that. That's why it's testing this level sometimes, because it doesn't know what is below. How the people will react. We can guess, but we don't know. And in the same time, look at my trend line. For the moment, we have one touch, second touch, you can say this accumulation here, it's a second touch. But I think it's pretty well respected. 1, 2, the third one should be in this area. In October, maybe November, if we'll touch this level, that will give us enough room to bounce before the halvening. Just my 2 cents. Let's wait and see what will happen. Without big and really good news, the market will not bounce. The market is weak in my view here, honestly. So that's the chart. Like people said 3 weeks, 1 month ago, at this level, the market will go at 20K, at 15K. No, the market is not going straight up or straight down. Don't look at what influencers are saying. You can see we have 1 month testing this level. Huh? Yeah, probably the market, if there are enough bad news, will go down, but not straight down. A lot of people on daily chart, even on 4-hour chart, but let's take an example on daily chart. They lost a lot of money. They lost more money here than this and this drop down, and all the move up and down. In this ugly environment, people lose the most money. Why? They are trying to anticipate a breakout. They are not okay with a small range. They are saying, okay, this time will break out. This time will break down. And they are positioning themselves backwards. If you don't know to play the range game, come in our community and we'll try to teach you. For me, the range is the most profitable thing I could see. I know where I should buy. I know where I should sell. I know where I should stay away. Indeed, the last month was ugly because the range was so small and ugly that not even the range game didn't work. But usually a range, it's really nice to play around. I think I spoke enough. 1 hour and 2 minutes. I remember someone said something about waves and why I choose that level. So let's look at, if I remember correctly, Kevin, someone said something about waves.
Yeah, somebody was asking about waves and why the $1 buy price that we have.
Yeah, so this was a trade, something different. Let's remove this one. Let's go back on weekly chart and let's see why I choose at that point in time $1. Big fat round number, first of all. Second, in the middle of this consolidation here, you can see the market fighted at this level. Second one, this level should be retested at some point. If this level will not hold, the market usually likes to touch a big fat round number, like $1. And at that point, let's take waves from this. Let's see if I could find waves in this list. Just bear with me a couple of seconds. Let's see where I fucking have waves. Look at here, waves, and let's put the chart out. At that point in time, if you look when I did this analysis, the market had a clear EM, a small support here, and was pretty obvious that $1 is like a magnet. Yeah, At that point in time is what I saw in the chart. Now, if I'm looking back, we had a nice bounce here. If I was being smart enough to buy here, maybe I had a sell half and a double. I wasn't so smart, but my plan is still working, and I'll still be profitable with or without waves. Now you can see what happened. We had some up and down moves. It's going sideways, but I don't think the market will go up in this environment without testing my level. So for the moment, I'm okay with keeping that level on waves. Indicators, I don't see anything special. Let me just adjust a little bit the OBV. You can see the indicator, they are below 50 line. Yeah, we have some M's. OBV doesn't have anything really strong, really special. I'm okay with keeping my order there. But I love, some people will tell you that it's not okay to put your limit order at a big fat round number. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes everyone is avoiding a big fat round number, and probably that's why they'll touch that level. But if you don't like to put $1, put $1.05. Or put it below $1. If you want to be sure that you'll get a fill, put $1.05 or something like that. Just a bit above $1. I'm safe enough because this is a Dino coin. It's old, has a lot of selling pressure, a lot of coins in the market. Yeah, behaved really nice last time. Last time behaved really nice. But usually that means, look left, that means that needs a lot of consolidation. At least a lot of time to go sideways. And I'm not sure because I cannot be sure about something in the market, but I'm confident enough that I'll hit my level at $1. That's my view about waves. I saw some requests. So,
Yeah, there's a couple
David,
in the chat.
Yeah, David said something about perp. David, I'll do the weekly and daily. I don't think it's the case for us to go on a lower time frame. I know I had a bad habit to go lower, but I don't think it's the case on this. You can see we are going sideways on higher time frame. We had a nice move. Yeah, that means that someone is buying here. We should buy here? I don't think so. We should wait. We should draw our long reload zone. Wait for the next, for a clear setup here. If you bought this weekly W, let's zoom in a little bit. Let's just zoom in and do a proper analysis. So let's say you bought this one, 57 cents, and you had yourself half and a double. In my view, this move is already played out, like a pump and dump, someone in this line. It's a clear range. You can see the top and the bottom. This move is played out already, in my view. If you bought the W, okay. If not, the proper way to do it is to take the high, to take the low, and wait at 78.6. Same kind of level. Wait for a new W. Or wait for some signs that I don't think it's a good idea to chase here. Yeah, this one could go higher and could go all the way up to the top. Maybe it's the best thing than hot water and so on. I don't know, but I'm in my investment plan, I'm not chasing. And for me, this means to chase. Yeah. If you know something fundamentally, I don't know, is the best thing, it's the best project for you, you can go on daily chart. Yeah. You can go on daily chart and take not this low, take this low. Okay, take this low, take this high. And you can, I don't know, if you are really bullish, buy below 61.8. If you like to blindly buy at 61.8 or another limit order at 78.6, okay, it's your plan. Honestly, I think this move, this setup is already played out, and we should go sideways a little bit more and wait for the next setup. We had this one had a nice, you can see the W on daily chart. We had the move up. You had I don't know, one double, maybe even two doubles. I don't think two, but this move is played out in my view. Just my 2 cents. Just let it cool it off a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. If you want to buy 61.8 or 78.6, it's up to you. But not in my case. I guess that's about it, this one, David. If it's something else, type it in the chat or type it in the Discord. Ask and we'll answer. Yeah, we'll definitely answer you. Let's see the next one. Someone said about SNX on, let's go on back on weekly chart. So Hania said something about SNX USDT. And Hania made some nice images for us. So I'll gladly answer her questions. You can see where we have the 0.5, 1.7, not quite a double. The double was here. Now, because we already bought some here, I don't think it's the case to buy it now here. If you want to trade it, Hania, if you want to make a trade, okay, play the range game. I don't have anything against. If you want to invest and you bought with our plan 0.5 here, I don't think it's the case to buy more at this level. Maybe you should wait for a wide and clear weekly double to buy another round. If you want to play the range game and think, okay, I want to trade this one to position trade or to swing trade, top, bottom, range, buy at the bottom, sell at the top, short at the top, with the idea that will go down. Clear setups, probably the best ones will be the 3-step setup with the 78.6 location for the M or the W. That's usually this kind of environment is good for that. So long reload zone here at 78.6, wait for a W here on daily chart, play the W, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, get out, repeat a short on the top and so on. Yeah, you can trade this one, you can trade multiple charts. At this point, we have a location. You can see this is the bottom, this is the top. We are in a good location, but nothing more than that. We had an attempt to go up, but because the market is so weak, we didn't manage to go up. Indicators, yeah, indicators, you can see the OBV even on weekly looks really nice, but that doesn't mean that if OBV is looking nice that we should chase. No, OBV is looking nice, that will get my attention about that chart. OBV could be in a bullish divergence and go to the all-time highs and the price still to be at the lows and in the same range. It's not a reason to chase. Like I said, weekly, if you bought some at this level where we pointed out, okay, I think it's enough. Let's wait for a weekly double. If you didn't bought first time, you have the level where you should buy. I think 78.6 is a good level even now. If you want to trade range game, buy the bottom, sell the top, and so on. Zen. Let's take a look at Zen. Kevin, if I'm saying something stupid or I don't know, I'm saying something I shouldn't, please correct me.
All right, you're good.
So, Zen is testing the lows in this kind of environment. Every altcoin will be market sold next week, so on. I don't think it's the case to do something here. Now you can see on weekly chart, I have 1.2, 3, 4, I don't know how many you can see here. But until we'll go the other side of this trend line, let's get rid of I don't see any reason to chase or to buy something. Yeah, you have a nice location. If you are going on daily chart and you're anticipating that this will be the low on the right side of the weekly W. This could be the local bottom, and we can go up and take this high, and then we'll form a weekly W. But that means that we are assuming a lot of things. To be on the safe side, wait for a weekly W, daily W, the other side of this trend line. For the moment, we are testing the lows. I love the OBV, but like I said last time, OBV could go up and the market could go down. RSI, you can see, is not strong enough. Is not even managing to pass the 50 line. Yeah, so I don't think is the case to do anything on this one, even on daily chart. Let's take a look at daily. Why not? I don't see anything bullish on for the moment on RSI or OBV. And looking at the price action beside that location that we have here, I don't see anything special. I'm not chasing here. You can see we had a trade at some point in time at the beginning of the year here. A 4-to-1 risk to reward. We managed to get an entry. It's all the yin here. But now I don't see anything special about this one. Let's just wait and be patient for at least a daily W. I don't see the W now. Okay, we have anything else, Kevin?
There was one higher up in the chat, I think NRM or something. NRM, yeah.
NRM, this one?
Those don't. Yeah, that's the yeah.
Let's see where we have it.
Or wait, maybe it was NMR. But it's
Yeah, probably.
I know I just missed a double on NMR when it popped. Yeah, it didn't fill me.
Same kind of thinking. Let's go back on our weekly chart. Let's see what we have. Same kind of thinking, going sideways. If you manage to buy here, sell half on a double, okay. If you didn't, wait for the next W. This move is played out already. We don't know if this low will hold. These lows could break at some point. I don't think it's a good idea. Yeah, we have a nice location, but location is the first one. Yeah. After location, we need some divergence or indicator confirmation, just to keep it simple with a 3-step setup or a classic setup, like I like to call it. Classic setup, everyone should know and everyone should use, and that setup, it's enough to make money. If you only know that setup, you don't need to know anything else, but you need to master that setup. You can see we are in the long reload zone. Let's just take this thing, okay, and let's put a new. Yeah, you are below 78.6, but I don't see anything else. Indicators, no. We had these movies played out already. We have location. We should wait for a bullish divergence or indicator confirmation, kind of Davo idea. Yeah, if I'll see a W here, I want to see the same W in RSI, in OBV, and other indicators, and so on. And then I could play also. This move is played out already, and we are going sideways. We don't know. We can break these lows at any point in time. Okay, I'll do the last one. GRT is the.
Oh, DMAC had one too. You got to do 2 more.
Okay. For DMAC, okay. DMAC, I have a bad news for you and for everyone. We have a problem. No link for the retweeter. Nothing is working. Seems that they are updating something, and no retweeter is working now. So I cannot do the giveaway. I could find a manual way to do it, but I prefer to wait until next week and do 2 of them next week. I could do it separately. I'll take the retweets for this week, and I'll take the retweets for the next week, and we can do 2 of them. I'll show you in just a moment. Nice location. We bought 0.5 here. Yeah. We have another order here, seems like a lot lower, and a lot of people will say no, never. I don't know, put your limit order and find out. Yeah, FAFO. Just trust me in FAFO on this one. Put the limit order at 3 cents and see what will happen until after the halving. Maybe we are lucky. Same kind of thinking. Nice W. If you manage to get this one, if you manage to take the breakout, the retest, okay, you made some money. Now that move is played out. I don't see the W. We only have the location. Yeah, almost, I don't know, 90% of the altcoins which pumped now are at the same level at 78.6 or a bit below, but we don't have a clear setup. Not yet. Maybe it'll take some time, and usually takes some time because we are on weekly chart. Maybe at the beginning of the next year, maybe a bit sooner. Who knows? Our job is to be patient and to wait. I don't see a setup now, Robel. Yeah, the move is already played out. Now we should be patient and wait. I don't know, if you see a bullish environment, okay, you can, I don't, if you want to trade, wait for a three bar fractal bottom. But I still prefer a W at least like this one. And to a W like this one to form at least will take 2 months. Yeah, keep in mind every candle it's 1 week. So at least 2 months to form a weekly W. So now we are a bit too early. I don't see the point. Okay, I'll go on daily, but I don't think it's the case. Will look exactly the same. It's testing the lows. I don't have a setup to trade, to invest. I just told you. If you don't have anything, yeah, it's not a bad level to buy some. We bought a bit higher at 10 cents. Now we are at 8 point something. We have the second order at 3 cents. And that's it. If you don't like this level, okay, put it here at 5 cents. But I don't see a new setup now. Yeah, DMAC, I'll try it again. You can see this one is not working. I tried a couple of links and nothing is working. So I don't know. They are modifying from retweets to reposts and so on. So something is happening on Twitter. Some links they work, but when you put the retweet and you try to do a giveaway, they are not working. So I'll just leave it like that, and I'll put in my notes that next week I should do 2 giveaways, and that's about it about giveaway. Nothing I can do. I could put someone, I don't know, put someone from the Twitter chat, from the YouTube chat to give me a number. I'll look at the number of the retweets and count and pick one winner. But I think the retweeter is better. Yeah, I don't want for some people to interpret in the wrong way this kind of giveaway. So I prefer to use the retweeter. It's 100% automated, so it's my way of doing things. I don't know. We have 1 hour and a half almost. If it's something on something else, please type in the YouTube chat or on Discord. We'll gladly answer you. One last thing. We are starting the CAPUA I program. Not too many people are interested. Keep in mind, I like to speak about everything important in these live streams. Why? Because they are recorded, and when someone will tell me something, I'll just go and look at in the past. So not too many people interested in trading and learning how to trade. But in the same time, I see people trying to trade in the weekend and doing stupid mistakes. I want to see everyone from our community. That's my goal, to know how to trade. I think it's the best value for your money, this program. Keep in mind, it's 4 months working with me and Kevin especially. Yeah, day by day, week by week, we'll have a live stream to try to teach you how to manage yourself and how to trade. Yeah, we'll have the CAPUA II, the second program. A lot of people, they ask me about that program. But you cannot go to the scalping level, to the day trading level without knowing the process, without knowing the basis, without being able to manage yourself in the market. For a scalper, for a day trader to do a stupid mistake and blow their account up, it's pretty easy. Only takes one trade to blow yourself up. So I will not accept people in the CAPUA II without knowing the process. Trust me, if I'll smell you that you don't know what you are doing, doesn't matter. You can pay double. I will not accept you. Yeah, I want people to learn how to trade. I want people to strengthen this community. Some of them, they'll learn how to trade and they'll go away. No problem. But some of them, they'll stay in the community and they'll give us ideas and will help the community grow bigger. Just my 2 cents. If you want to take our program, the registration is still open until the middle of the next week. Most of the people interested, they already paid, they already set in, just small adjustments, and we are ready to go. I will not accept registration after the end of the next week. Sorry, you had enough time. We spoke about this program, I don't know, 3 weeks from now on. Everyone from our community should know about the program. I don't want to get someone after we start and I don't know, him not to be able to catch up. No, start from the beginning like you should. Go until the end with us. You have after that, you have another 6, 7 months to work with us on premium part to become a trader. More than that, I don't know if we can do for you. I don't like to say goodbye. I don't like to close the live streams. Oh, I'll let Kevin do that.
All right. I don't have any.
I was a bit, I don't know, sorry if I was a bit, I don't know, too harsh, but I still see people trying to trade and they don't know the process, and I don't like to see that in our communities. I have I still feel that I don't know, anxiety when I'm posting low time frames trade on premium chat, because I know some people do stupid mistakes with that idea, and I don't want them to lose money in our community. I hate when I see someone losing more than 10% and come and tell me I did a stupid mistake. Okay, once, but second time, why you are doing the same fucking mistakes? Yeah, I'll let Kevin close the live stream.
Yeah, it's point well taken. And you will blow yourself up if you just go in there and trade without a plan. So it's always worth mentioning. It sucks to see people get blown up.
It's ugly. And you can ask people from VIP how much they risk on a scalp. 0.5%, 1%, no more than 1% on leverage. So we are making some money when the market will allow us, but our focus is on protecting capital. Yeah, I'm making money. I'm living from trading with risking 1% max on every trade. I'm not risking more than 1%. If it's a spot position, it's something different. But on leverage, I'm not risking more than 1%, and I don't need to. And I don't have millions of dollars on trading account, but it's enough to make a living.
Yeah, and go and find one of those equity curve calculators and play around with it and see what happens if you risk 1% with like a 50% win rate, and then also see how quickly you could drain your capital if you're like trading poorly with like a 5% risk per trade or something. It's like vastly different numbers.
I just posted one in the chat in the live, so you can take this tool for the start equity, win probability. But to have something like that, you need a plan and you need a journal. Yeah, you cannot speak about win probability, win rate, or risk reward if you don't play with setups, plan, and you don't have a journal. Yeah, you cannot use a calculator like this if you don't have these tools: plan, setups, risk management, and a good journal. This tool is not useful for you if you don't have things like that.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Sorry, DMAC. I guess we missed RSR, but I suppose I could just look at it as I close out this meeting. But I'm sure it's probably very similar to the to some of these other names anyway. But we'll look at it as I wrap this up here, because we did miss DMAC's request. But looking at this, this is a strong downtrend. I'll just say that. Location's okay, obviously, but I mean, location is just new lows. Technically, this week it looks like we made even, or maybe not quite. Yeah, I didn't make a new low this week, but geez, that's not a great looking weekly candle here. We'll see how it closes. Do you have OBV divergences trying to form here though? So that's good, but it's also kind of like in the short term, very much more emmy. So that's just like all these things hasn't turned yet. I think it's tough to make an argument that this thing has turned here. There's no structure at all. If anything, I see an M right there. So just patience. I don't see any reason to, there's an M actually working. I don't see any reason to, it's fine if you're going to like go and try to nibble this, just try to catch the bottom here. Sure, fine. But it looks like it's headed lower to me. RSI is not even overbought, or God, I don't know why I keep mixing those up. RSI is not oversold yet. So there's still room to just keep grinding down. Hopefully OBV will hold here, because that'd be a nice little divergence if OBV can hold right here and actually break this W out. That'll be a nice little divergence there. Then just got to wait for a weekly W to really go and buy. But man, just look at the moving averages here. That's a great way to just wrap this up, and just that's not what a bottomed market looks like, with the moving averages still wide apart and pointing very much down. I mean, you can even see even back here how it tried to like consolidate them and maybe cross them, and then just turned into a fake out. So it's just no rush here. I think that's the general consensus across these things all, entirely. There's some weekly W's that are holding and working, and that's great. But for the most part, the altcoin market looks kind of like it's just a little heavy at the moment. So we'll see where we're at in a couple months. Hopefully we have more bottoms, heading in towards the end of the year. And I guess that's it. We'll come back next week with more giveaways. I guess we missed those this week, but other than that, yeah, I'll be talking on more crypto on Tuesday. So if you do have more names you want to look at, we can look at them on Tuesdays, right at the stock market close, which I guess is probably 20 UTC, I suppose. 20 UTC. And then also that London session, Stefan will be live scalping, or probably will be. I can't say for 100% sure, but I think he'll be live scalping on Tuesdays during the London session. That'll be on YouTube as well. There's a link in this show notes for our Discord if you're not already in there. And yeah, we're starting the CAPUA I school program this week, so we'll let you guys know how that goes. If you're still interested, Paul already mentioned you can, reach out to us in the next few days. And other than that, we'll just see you guys next Sunday for this show, and then maybe we'll catch you guys during the week in our Tuesday our New York session will be open too. So if you're interested in any of those things, pop in Discord, and all that information's there. And otherwise, do the whole like and subscribe nonsense if you would for YouTube. And then I'll just say have a good rest of your Sunday. We'll talk to you guys soon. So take care. Bye-bye.